Hi there, it's Brian from Bayside Folsom in Santa Rosa here. So glad you joined us for this refuel. If you've ever been with someone who's a big deal, the question you really want to uncover the answer to is, what are they really like? There's a season when it seemed like every single flight home I was on, I was sitting next to Michael Keaton, Batman. I sat next to Batman on the plane. Or fly fishing on the West Boulder River with Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. In the Senate cloakroom with the senator from South Carolina whose name rhymes with Jinsey Lamb. At Bayside Folsom with the governor of California and first partner. And we know the public persona of people, right? But you go tell your friends that you've met someone who's a big deal, and what they're truly interested in is what they're really like. And it's especially true with figures who are divisive in nature. What are they really like? Well, no one has more impressions of him, yet so little knowledge about him as God himself. After all, everyone thinks they know something about God, yet very few people actually know him. And one of the most powerful questions humanity ever asks is, what is God like? And one of the great gifts of the Bible is that it answers a whole lot about that question. Which is why around Bayside, we hold the Bible in such high regard. It's at the center of everything we do, actually, because the Bible tells us the truth regarding the character of God, who he really is. Luke chapter 1 in the Bible gives us a glimpse, just a glimpse of what God is like. The priest Zechariah, he's talking about God sending John as a prophet, Jesus as the Messiah, and he speaks this great word revealing for us everything that God is working to accomplish through that plan. Zechariah announces that God is working in miraculous ways through his son Jesus in order to do all kinds of things, but it's his motivation for why he does them that's most interesting. Zechariah says in Luke 1:78, because of the, catch this, tender mercy of God. Zechariah is declaring that God has done all of these things, his grand search and rescue plan to redeem all of humanity back to him. Why? Because of his tender mercy for us. And there it is. That's what God is like. One of the first words that comes to the mind of Zechariah about God after literally 9 months of not being able to speak is that word mercy. Not judgment or sovereignty or omniscience or omnipresence. The first word is mercy. And that's what God is like. He's merciful. One of the great preachers of old, a guy named Charles Spurgeon, says of this verse that it shows a, merciful heart and a hearty mercy. And both of those can sure be seen in the forgiveness of our sin, can't it? God shows his merciful heart in that he is compassionate toward me, you, sinners. He's so merciful that even when he has the right to be tough because we've blown it again and again, and yet God's tender toward us. It also shows a hearty mercy because God forgives your and my sin that's so great and so numerous, and his mercy overflows in quantities that is abundantly greater than our sin. God has a merciful heart and has a hearty mercy. Now, we live in a world that thinks it knows God. Some see him as some kind of overbearing cosmic cop just waiting for us to step out of line. Some see him as a cold and distant being. Some see him as their best friend. Everyone has some concept of what they think God is like, but humanity can't know God apart from God making himself known. Anything we would dream up, it wouldn't even be close. Yet with a cry from a manger, God announced to the world, here I am. This is what God is like. And of all the aspects of his character that are revealed in God's one and only Son, Jesus, one aspect that seems so unexpected is his tender mercy. Just imagine those two words together, God and mercy. The message of Jesus' birth is that this is who God really is. Make no mistake about it. At the heart of God is mercy. Mercy for you and for me, the sinners, the rebels, the misfits. And for all of those who open their eyes in faith and see him as the fantastically merciful God.